Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Clara. I'm back with another review, and this is a game I've played both online on Board Game Arena and also physically. I bought it as a result of playing it online. It's a game that I really like, but I have reasons why I like it, and there's reasons why it's not staying in my collection. So there is Glow, as you can see behind me, and I'll get into the why I'm not keeping it, but why I do like it in the main review, shall we? Okay, so I realize that that's a little bit complicated saying that I like it and I bought it as a result of playing it, but I've decided not to keep it. So what is going on with this game? What is it? Well, you're basically moving your meeple or your boats around the board. That's what you're doing, and you're trying to pick up points along the way. There's also other things. So at the start of the turn, you pick a companion. That companion has special powers. If you roll dice and you get the things that you need to get that, then you get the special power. So maybe it'll give you points, maybe it'll give you fireflies, whatever it is. And so you're picking these companions based on the powers that they have, and then you put it out in the tableau in front of you. But the dice that you choose on your go is also determined by the companion that you choose, because they have this strange way of sort of going back. And so it's really, really interesting that it's like, do you pick the companion for the power or do you pick it for the dice? Because you need to be able to power all your companions. You want to be able to get something. And then, like I say, you take those dice and then you roll them and you see what it is that you get. And this is very much about rolling dice, but you can re-roll a number of times. So you can get these re-roll tokens. Some of your companions will let you re-roll. Also, you can move backwards on the score track to get a re-roll as well. So there's lots of ways of mitigating the rolls, although luck still plays a part. And I got really, really unlucky on my last go. Um, so yeah, there's quite a lot going on. Now, what I really like about this is not only are you drafting these dice, but they're also beautiful dice. Let's just point that out. But also, say you roll a cloud, and maybe two of your companions need a cloud to power them. Well, you don't have to choose. You can power both with that cloud. So obviously, if it needs two clouds, then you need to evolve two clouds. But you can use that one cloud for multiple things, and you can use the crystals for multiple things. So I think that's really interesting, but it does mean that you've got to be really observant, because it's difficult. You don't just sort of move and allocate your dice. You've got to keep it like that's for that and that and that and that. And so there's quite a lot to keep an eye on. Now, if you're playing on Board Game Arena, it automatically tells you what you can, activate. So you don't need to worry about that. And it's not overly complicated, but I think you do have to be observant. And with me and my brain, I don't always sort of pay the highest attention. So I'm pretty sure that I miss things that I could do when I'm playing it physically, whereas I don't online. But the other thing that you need those dice for is at the end of the go, you also use those dice to move depending on what you've rolled. So certain dice will roll certain things more often. So certain dice will roll clouds more often, or crystals, or leaves more often. And so that can factor into what it is you're choosing when you're choosing your dice or your companion. Because in order to move across certain spots, you need to pay a cloud, you need to pay a leaf, whatever it is, you need to pay fire. And that's the main crux of the game, is you're trying to move either your adventurer or your boats. If you're on the second side, on the second side you have four boats that you can move to get points. On the first side it's one adventurer, and so you're moving your characters around. So one thing that is a problem with this is that the board's not very big, and there's a lot going on, and sometimes I don't know, it can be a little bit tricky to really see clearly. I don't know why, but for some reason, because the things sort of stand out, the coloured things stand out, but for some reason, some of them I miss or don't look at them properly. But also, there are these negative things on the board which are grey, and they are grey on a black and white board, so they are super easy to miss. You've got to be super observant. Again, when you're playing it online, you don't need to worry about that because the AI knows what you've got to move across and what you need. And so that makes it difficult. They need to be clearer, and I wish this was a bigger board, and I wish that the cards were slightly bigger. Now, the cards are regular size, they're not small cards by any means. But the reason that I bought this game, why I went from Board Game Arena, having played it a number of times and knowing it was a simple game, to buying it physically, one was because I thought it'd be fun to roll those dice, but like I say, doesn't really work with the way my brain works, sort of keeping all the different combinations in line. And that's why I'd rather play it online, I think, on Board Game Arena. But then the main reason I bought it is that it's got this beautiful artwork by Ben Basso and Vincent Dutrait, this black and white fantasy artwork, which is very sort of gothic-y fantasy with all these different creatures, and it is absolutely beautiful. This is the prettiest game I've seen in terms of artwork. This is the game that I love the most. And the components are really good. The dice are really good. There's big and small dice, but they're clear, and everything is pretty about it. But I wish the board was bigger. You don't need a bigger board, but this, for me, the selling point was the artwork, and it's not bigger. Same with the cards. They're perfectly clear, and they're good quality cards, but I sort of wish they were bigger because I want to see the artwork more. And so I have issues with actually playing it in terms of just having to be a lot more careful with what I'm doing, and I'm just not that careful for a very simple game at the end of the day. And the main reason that I wanted this was for the artwork, but that is not a good enough reason to keep it in my collection. Now, I will play this. I'm not going to go starting any games on Board Game Arena anytime soon, but I think I probably will do, over the next 6 months. I probably will start a few games. But if someone was playing it, or they were playing it physically, I'd say yes, I'd join in. But I just don't need to have it in my collection. Like I say, it's beautiful, but that beauty is not a good enough reason for me to keep what is a sort of very simple game with a lot of keeping an eye on stuff. It's just not enough for me. So a beautiful game, but it's not staying in my collection, which is a real shame. But that is Glow. That is my review. I love it. And I think it'd work really, really well for certain groups. I really do. So I think that certain people would absolutely enjoy having it in their collection. But for me, I'm just going to move it aside because I'm not going to play it in person. I'm not going to take it to board game sessions. I'm not going to pull it out. So that's me. Hopefully you like that review, and maybe subscribe and like and all that jazz. And until next time, take care and bye.